We're all on a journey through life. We're all moving somewhere and time is taking us there. But where are we going? How does the journey end? What am I looking for in life? With all the different paths to choose, does it matter which one I pick? Is there a right way to live? Those are the most important questions you're ever going to ask. And everybody asks them. They start to arise from our hearts from the time we're little kids. They're burning in all our hearts. People might drown out the fact that they're asking these questions with life, with jobs, with getting busy, with getting distracted with a million things. But those questions are always there. Even if people go through bad experiences in life and start to despair, I'll never find the answers to those questions. They're always there. It's almost like we're put on this planet to find the answers. I think maybe that was why Jesus' first interaction with mankind in the Gospel of John was to ask a question. He saw two guys following him, turned around, looked at him and said, "What are you looking for?" So what are you looking for?
Hollywood, California, the place where stars are born. Today, we're on the Walk of Stars, and we're going to be asking people what they really want out of life.
I just want to be able to, be able to do exactly what I want.
I want everybody to be safe, stay in school, finish, graduate.
Just to get every experience possible, because you only have one life, might as well just make it worth it.
At some point I want to start a business, and I want to grow it, and through that business kind of help the world a little bit, make it a better place.
I want steady family, peace on earth, and fast cars.
Graduate and go to be a cardiologist has always been my pretty much only dream.
I think overall I want to be able to make a decent amount of money.
What I want most out of life is probably happiness.
As healthy as long as possible.
Well, I failed algebra, and I've got this really pretty tutor, so I'm going to try to relearn that for this movie I'm doing.
And feed those muscles.
You should feel it, sweetie. That's 100% authentic right there.
We met a lot of different people today who gave a lot of different answers to what they want out of life. But could there be a common theme even among their different answers?
At World Youth Day in Toronto, Canada, Pope John Paul II told about 500,000 young people, "I felt the deep longing that beats within your hearts. You want to be happy." And you know what, he's right, because everyone who ever existed wants to be happy. In fact, our desire for happiness underlies pretty much every other desire that we have. I mean, what do you want out of life? I want to be a rock star. Why? Because maybe you think that'll make you happy. I want to be rich and famous. Why? It'll make me happy. I want a great marriage someday. Why? It'll make me happy. And here's a real shocker. A lot of us think our faith is just one of those components of our lives. One of those things on the side, in our journey through life. Yeah, I got my friends, I got the music I listen to, horseback riding, sports I like to play, faith, just one of those many things that adds to our sense of well-being. You don't know. But check this out. Your faith has everything to do with why you're on this journey of life. It's got everything to do with answering those fundamental questions you have about life, why we're here, and what's going to make us happy. In fact, Jesus' big motive for his whole ministry was to help people discover the happiness they were made for. It's from John 15. I've told you this so that my joy may be in you and your joy may be complete. That's why we're doing all this too. Now, you might be here for a lot of other reasons. I mean, you might be here because maybe your parents made you come. Maybe you're here because there's a pretty girl in your class. Maybe you're here because you have absolutely nothing else to do. But by the end of this chosen journey, you're going to see that there is nothing more important than the time you give engaging in the journey of your faith. Now, you don't have to have it all together to start this journey. You might have 1,000 questions about your faith. You might feel messed up inside in like a million different ways. It's all good. Just start the journey. Come to every class with an open mind, open heart. Be there on time. And most importantly, be respectful of the people who are in charge of your class, who are giving their time to be with you on your faith journey. And be respectful of all the people around you. We are honored to be taking this journey with you. You're a big deal. And whether you know it or not, you're chosen.
Last time we talked about why are we here. Not only why are we here on this journey towards confirmation, but why are we here on this earth? And we came to the conclusion that we're all looking for happiness. So this week we're going to talk about what makes us happy. We're here in the heart of New York City in Times Square, where there's tons of excitement, shopping, entertainment. But does this bring us everlasting fulfillment? Does this bring us true satisfaction? So we're going to ask you, what really makes you happy?
Woo! I tell you what, I had a go-kart as a kid, but I have never driven a Ferrari in my life. That was quite an exhilarating ride. I mean, my heart is pumping. It was a thrill. A lot of people seek happiness in this world. But a lot of times when we seek happiness, we seek it through fun or seek it through a thrill of some sort. But what happens when that kind of goes away? What happens when the ride's over? What happens when there's no more laps? Or what happens when the car breaks down? I mean, do I need to drive a Lamborghini next week? Do I need to do something else that's bigger or better in order to be able to be happy? What are some of the other ways that we do this? I think a lot of times we kind of seek fun through other things like popularity and fame or athletics or some sort of success. But really, I don't think any of us wants to just be known as the popular one or the athletic one or the smart one, even though you guys might be all those things. You might be the super attractive girl or guy and you have all the attention, but at the end of the day, does that make us happy? I think we would all want to be able to say, I'm the happy one. But let's say you did have it all. Let's say that you had the cars, you had the fame, you had all the experiences that you could get your hands on. What happens when you lose the game? What happens when you fail a test or a teacher's not fair? What happens when somebody gets sick in your family? What happens when you lose your job? What happens when you don't get the scholarship you want? What then? I think that we start to recognize that there's something deeper in our hearts that we long for than just fun or thrills, as awesome as they might be. At the end of the day, we don't want to have our happiness rise and fall on our geographic location or whether or not we have enough money to afford another thrill. What is it that our hearts really, really long for to be happy? We're here in New Orleans, Louisiana, the Big Easy, the birthplace of jazz, Mardi Gras. It's a place with a lot of fun, and sometimes a lot of the rich and famous people who seem to have it all, they come and visit in our tourism-fed industry down here. But let's go ahead and talk to somebody who's experienced the fame and the success that's connected to that life and see if it actually gave what maybe we wanted it to give. Does it fulfill us?
I thought I had everything. My paychecks had a comma in them. My picture was on billboards in Times Square. They were also on the side of taxi cabs and subways and all of this because I was on the TV show America's Next Top Model Cycle 3. And after that show, I decided to move to New York and become a professional model and really just go for it. And I did that. And so living that lifestyle was just pretty wild and crazy. I thought it was everything that I wanted. I mean, I want to be happy, and I want to, as silly as it sounds, I want to be pretty, and I want to be famous and make some money, and I saw happiness in purely those things. And I was definitely living the lifestyle of a fashion model and, you know, going to crazy parties and doing all these silly things that I probably shouldn't have been doing. And I didn't consider that I was a bad person. I mean, I thought I was still a good person. I mean, I was born and raised Catholic, and I believed in God and everything, but just didn't see any type of connection about that with my professional life or, you know, what I do in the world necessarily. It even showed in my relationships with guys. I mean, I would be in relationships and I would give myself away and be in impure relationships and not upholding their dignity or even mine. And I think I just resigned myself to the fact that this just might be as good as it's going to get. So take what you got, you know? And the same thing it was for even in the modeling career. And in my modeling career, I got a phone call while I was living in New York from an international magazine, and they invited me to do a photo shoot for them. And they said it was going to be really sexy and sultry, and I was really excited by this because I thought it would help my career because they're international. And they were really excited to showcase me in their magazine. And so I went for it, absolutely. And but it was there, actually in the middle of that photo shoot, that something happened. And I guess I just began to realize something more about the world and our purpose. And I sat there in the photo shoot, and there's everybody there, and they're all putting lotion on me to make me look like I'm from Puerto Rico and doing all these things. But I realized in all of the people around me, no one really cares about me. And what's worse is I didn't even really care about myself. And it was just there that I think I had a deeper realization that I was made for more. that I was meant for more, and that this can't be all there is. There's got to be something deeper than what the world is offering. One of my favorite quotes goes like this: "The world promises you comfort, but you were not made for comfort. You were made for greatness." See, I was made for greatness, and you were made for greatness, not mediocrity. Maybe what the world's been selling us and telling us is not so great after all. Maybe there's something bigger and better out there to embrace.
So we've seen that fame and fortune, success and popularity doesn't really bring us the happiness that our hearts really desire. So consider this. What are you looking for? What do you not have yet that you're reaching out to attain? If you get it, are you really going to be satisfied? We're here in New Orleans, Louisiana, at the mouth of the Mississippi River, where all kinds of debris and dirt and rocks come down here from the rest of the country with some strong currents that make this whole area, this whole stretch of the river, one of the most treacherous parts of navigating a river in the country. And if you want to be a riverboat pilot here, you have to have years of studying maps. You have to mentally memorize every twist and turn and be able to prove that you know how to make it through this area in order not to destroy yourself or somebody else in the process. You know, life is a little like that. There's a lot of twists and turns. There's a lot of things submerged that we don't expect that sometimes pop up. What happens when those things come our way? Are we just left to try to figure it out all on our own? Some people believe that God just left us to figure everything out by ourselves. But what if that's not the case? What if there's more? What if God wants us to be happy and He's with us and He's helping us make it through all the decisions that are coming up in your life? Maybe you're not alone. Maybe He wants more for you than maybe you sometimes even feel is possible. So we've been shopping in Times Square. We've been driving Ferraris around a racetrack. We've even heard from some people who have had it all. Maybe you're even looking forward to some fun this weekend, something cool in your life. But when it's over, what then? You know, I think that it's helpful for us as we look forward in our lives to kind of some of those twists and turns that we talked about that might be upcoming. It's helpful to look at some other people that have maybe found the happiness that we want. I'll tell you a story. When I was a kid, 12 years old, I went and saw a patient with my dad who was a physical therapist. And there was an old man named Mr. Munley who had had a tough life. When this guy was 18 years old, in the prime of his life, he had a stroke. He had to struggle to work the rest of his life. He lived in a shack. He wasn't able to kind of hang out with anybody else in his life. His family kind of started to move away from him. He finally got married when he was 49 years old. It only lasted for a year. He wet the bed for the first 50 years of his life because he had a problem with his body that the doctors couldn't figure out. Shortly after that, the guy goes blind. He ends up in a nursing home. When I finally come to see him with my dad, who asks him every time he sees him, "Mr. Munley, how you doing?" And he would always respond with, Mr. Bob, God has been so good to me." You might be like, how's that possible? I remember thinking that as a kid, like, are you serious? This guy can't be happy. What is there to be happy about? When we hear about people like that, what do they have in their hearts that we might be missing? As you might be thinking about some of the tough things in your own life, relationships that are maybe not what you want them to be, or maybe you failed a test this week, or maybe you got into a fight with your boyfriend or girlfriend, or maybe you've been just neglected. I want to encourage you to sit with the question that, is it possible that maybe, just maybe, God hasn't left us all by ourselves? But if we're honest with ourselves, can we ask the question, maybe the source of our happiness that He's moving us towards is Himself. Maybe He's the way to everything that we really desire in our lives.
Everybody loves stories, but did you know that your life is part of a bigger story? And if I could sum that story up in one word, it's this: love. And not just like a sentimentality or warm fuzzy feeling, but a scary amount of love. You know, I see a little bit of the love that the story of our life's about in my heart as a dad toward my kids, and it's downright scary. Let me tell you about the worst 20 minutes I had in my entire life.